Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Charlie Newton here once again for your art class, Splash Live Art Studio. So, I'm hoping that all of my students are ready to draw. We're going to draw today. And remember that the more you draw, the better you get. So we're going to make a drawing today of a face, of a man's face, and I think I want to add some shading today. I'm sort of wanting to draw in charcoal pencils. I'm sort of debating whether to do that or not. Well, why not? Let's do charcoal pencils. Well, you can use your drawing pencils if you have some. If you don't have drawing pencils, you can use a regular 2B pencil. If you are a Splash student, then you should have a charcoal pencil. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's sort of orangey, brownish orange like. You can use that. If you don't feel comfortable with charcoal, you can use your drawing pencils. The main thing about drawing with pencil or charcoal, you have to keep your hands off of the paper. If you put your hands on the paper while using charcoal, it will really smudge. So we're going to draw using shapes. So let's get started. I'm going to show you some the type of shapes we're going to use first. And you can draw along with me. Let's start with some scrap paper. Let's get some scrap paper and practice before we start the actual face. So I have my scrap paper here, and what I want to show you is the shapes that we're going to make, the shape that we will use in this drawing. Now, let's show you the face. This is the face that I want to draw today. And so you're going to have your paper. When we draw the face, the portrait, you're going to have it portrait way. So the long side up, okay? So the shape we're going to use is we're going to use a cube or a ball. I'm going to get some more light on this subject as well. Get a cube or a ball. That's good. That's good enough. Hope that you can see this. Notice I'm just sketching. So my younger students, remember, we don't just draw one line like that. It's easy to mess up. So we sketch lightly. I'm barely touching the paper, and I'm making this circle round. Once we get the shape we want, then we can go back and find the line that works. So I have a lot of choices here now. Okay, so the difference in this circle, now we're going to try to make the circle look a little bit 3D. So imagine the light is coming from the left-hand side, and so it's going to cast a shadow. And the shadow is round, oval, like. I'm drawing with my ebony pencil now, extra black ebony pencil for Splash students. We're sketching just for practice so that we can see the shapes. So now I'm using hatch marks, and I'm going to shade the side of this cube or ball that has less light. So the light is coming from here, from the left side, and so it's casting a shadow on the table or the ground. So we're going to use that shape. Another shape we're going to use will be we're going to use a cone shape as well. cone is like a cone is like a triangle. It's a triangular shape. See, I'm still sketching. See all these lines? I'm trying to find where I want this cone to be. And I'm looking at, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm looking at some objects in front of me right now. And next time we may just draw those objects. But a cone is going to be round. This is like putting a circle and a triangle together. So instead of, even though this cone is sitting on a flat surface, the bottom will not look like a straight line. Now, a lot of you beginners, what you do, especially you young beginners, I'm saying 6, 7, 8, what you do automatically is you'll make a straight line because you know that it's sitting on a table. But you can't make that line straight. The way we actually see it, we see a curved line like this because the cone is round. In the top of the cone, we're going to see it like a little oval shape. See how many lines I'm making? I don't know which line works, so I'm going to keep making lines. I'm sketching, and my sketch is getting darker as I find the line. And again, we're going to let the light come from the left-hand side. That means the right-hand side is going to cast a shadow. Now, let me erase these straight lines so that you can see what I've done and not get confused. So wherever you see a shadow, that's where there's less light hitting the object. I think next time I may actually do these shapes and set up the studio where you can see the light sources. You can really see the light sources. So I have overhead lights here now, and it's makes it sort of confusing. So I'm doing cross-hatching to show that there's not the same amount of light hitting the right side of this cone. And these hatch marks are curved, just like the bottom of the cone. I wanted this cone to look round, to feel like it's round visually. Also, I can erase all these lines that I don't need. Yes.
Can you bring that paper down about an inch so that they can see the top of the cone?
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's an oval shape. Now, just a little trick. If I make the right-hand side, the right-hand line, the line on the right side, a little darker, this line can be very light, and it would actually make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. And we haven't talked about that yet. There's so much to talk about. There's so much involved in drawing. A lot of these things you will discover on your own. And you have to. You have to discover things on your own. Another little trick. If I want this cone to look like it's sitting on a table, I could start a line here in the background, stop it there, draw an invisible line. I'm not touching the paper, and start it again. Now it looks like it's sitting on a table. Another trick, if I darken this back here a little bit, giving you guys a lot of tricks, you can go back and look at this. If this light on this side, darker on this side, all of a sudden it begins to make the cone look more round. So those are the shapes we're going to be using today. And we're going to break down those shapes. The cube and the cone, we're going to break it down into like the oval shape, and the triangle shape, like that. Okay. So this is the picture once again. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the shape of the man. You know what? Let's use pencils and not charcoal, because for some of you it's your first time. Now the splash students, you should have a pencil that says extra black. It's a black pencil, and it has 3 5s on it, number 555. I'm going to start off with this pencil, and then I may go to some of the other drawing pencils later. And the reason why I decided not to do charcoal, because it may stress some of you kids out trying to handle the charcoal medium. We'll do charcoal later. We have time. We have plenty of time. Okay? So I'm actually drawing on mixed media paper. I made a mark with my pencil here that I don't want, so I just turn my paper over. Okay. So it's good to have the picture that you're drawing close by. I'm actually going to scoot over some so that you can see. I may be off that camera a little bit, but I want you guys to see the picture. Now, the first thing I want you to remember to do is to draw large. Draw large. Say that with me. Draw large. Draw big, big. Whenever we draw big. And the reason why I tell kids to draw big, because it makes it easier for you to paint later, and it's easier for you to do details. Okay, can they see the picture and my paper, Iantha? Pretty good?
Yes.
Great. Awesome. So draw with me now. I'm going to start. You notice that with this picture here, we don't have the top of the man's head. So we're going to draw the picture similar to this one. It won't be exactly like this one, because you are beginners. I am not. Mine will look more like this than yours. It's okay. The main idea is that you practice, practice, practice. Okay? Practice, practice, practice. So we're going to start, and notice how I'm holding my pencil up. I'm holding my pencil way back near the end, so it's very loose, because I want to sketch light lines. I'm going to start at the upper left-hand corner, about 1/16. And I'm going to draw a line that curves down and around an oval shape. Remember when we drew the egg? Every time we draw a face, most faces will be sort of shaped like an egg. And don't take it all the way down to the bottom. Take it down to 1/4 of the way. So when I'm saying 1/4, just with my eye, this would be, I'll do it on this side. This might be 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like that. 1. You don't have to draw these tick marks. I just want you to know what I mean when I say 1/4 of the way. And then curve it back up and leave some space on the right-hand side for the ears. Now, we don't have to fit everything into this shape. We just need to know basically where the face is. We're going to find the face in a minute. Then we just put a mark here for the neck. And we're going to make changes, okay, as we go. And just a mark for where the collar may be. So now I'm going to begin to make some real decisions. Okay, I think I want my eyes to start about here, just above this tick mark. And watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a curved line. It curves, it bends up. I'm going to draw it on some scrap paper so that you can see it really good. So I did a shape kind of like this. Now I'm going to draw a line that curves up slightly like that, because the face needs to go back in space. It needs to be round like an egg. And then I'm going to find where the nose is. I'm going to draw a line there. And then, but the mouth, the line is going to curve in the opposite direction. This line bends like this up, and this line bends like that. You see that? See what I'm talking about? And then there's going to be a line not in the middle of the egg, but 1/3 of the way. There's a line, a light line, very light, that's going to come down like that. Okay, now I'm going to do it on my picture. So I've drawn this line. Now I'm going to decide basically where the nose might be. That line bends. And the mouth is pretty close to the nose. I'm going to make changes because, you know, all of us, we draw differently. Now I'm going to make my chin, I'm going to bring my chin up some. So you can still make changes. These lines that we're drawing, they are not etched in stone. When I say etched in stone, what I mean, we can make changes. It just gives us an idea of where everything goes. Now, I'm showing you my drawing techniques, your drawing technique. You know, the more you draw, you have to draw your way, okay? But I'm just showing you a way to do this. This is just a way. Okay, so first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to draw the eye. And for me, I want my eye to start underneath that line, and my eye is going to be slanted up like that. And the second eye is going to be slanted down. So the eye is kind of like a football. Don't draw too heavy. And it's hiding behind that nose, the nose. I'm going to move this over a little bit. So drawing this eye right here. Then I'm going to draw the eyelid, a line for the eyelid, because the eyes have to be able to open and close. We do not say that this is correct yet. I'm still trying to find. It's like discovery when you're drawing, especially when you're drawing a portrait. So I want this face to look like this picture, the picture of this person. Now I'm going to measure this eye. I put the point of my pencil in the corner of this eye, the left hand corner, and then I put my finger, my index finger, on the right. Then I measure that eye. So where this eye begins and that one ends. So you can't do that yet because you don't have this picture. So I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to measure the left eye here and that's 1 1/4. So I'm going to put the point of my pencil right here in the corner of this eye, and my finger right there on the corner. And I'm going to use this right here as a measurement. So it's 1, I make a little tick mark. See, it's just like I put that eye right there. And then I'm going to put 1/4 of that eye right here. 1/4 is like 1/4. So for those of you, you youngins, 5, 6, 7, 8, don't worry about those measurements if you don't know what I mean. We just need some space between this eye. And if the space is another eye, just as wide as that eye, that'll be good. That'll be okay. See? If the space between this eye is another eye, that's okay. Then you have to sometimes just draw what you see. I mean, that's what I'm trying to teach you how to do. In every class, I'm trying to teach you how to see. A lot of these techniques are advanced that I'm giving to you right now. They're subtle, but they are pretty advanced, and you will gain them and understand them better when you're older. So when I'm starting measuring, I'm measuring 1/4 or 1/4 or whatever. That's for the older kids. But for you younger kids, just remember, make sure the eyes are not too close together. Make sure your eyes are far apart. How will you know where they belong? You have to look and see it. The difference between artists and the rest of the world, most artists, I'd say artists who can draw. I'll say that. A lot of artists can't draw. But the ones who can draw, the difference is that we don't just look at things, we can actually see them. And that means we can calm our minds down and meditate and think about what we're looking at. So this line for the nose is at an angle to the left. It's like drawing a triangle. The nose is basically the shape of a triangle. So it's like drawing a triangle, but we're drawing the side of the nose. So it curves down to meet this line that you've already drawn. Don't make the nose too short, and don't make it too long. This guy's nose is pretty fat, so. Now I'm going to draw the nostril. This is the nostril. I can draw a line straight up from where this nostril curves around, and you see I can draw a line straight down from the corner of this eye, straight down, and that's basically where that nostril will end. So it curves around this triangle on the left-hand side, then there's a line that bends up like this for the opening of the nostril, and then it curves back around. So the line comes down, it's soft. All these lines are soft, they're not straight and hard. And it curves around, see, like a C, then it curves up because you need that opening for your nose, right? And you can touch your own nose. You can touch your own nose underneath, and you see there's a little thin part there, a little thin piece of skin there. And that's right underneath the opening for the nose, and then it turns back up like that. Okay. Now you can make changes, like I say, anytime you want to. And now let me mention this. I've mentioned this before. Try to keep your hands off your paper. And one way to do that is you can get a scrap sheet of paper and lay your hands down. What I do before I start drawing, I always wash my hands before I draw with soap and water. And I'm trying to get the oil off my hand and any dirt that might be on the hand. Right underneath the nose, there's a little indentation that curves down right at where this little bit of skin ends, it curves down like this, and then there's another one that curves like that. It's not straight. It curves, and it's in a triangular shape too. Now, before I do the mouth, I need to know where the mouth ends. So, the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to draw in the eyeballs in this guy, on this guy. So, first I'll do the left-hand side, a curved line. You can't see the entire circle of the eyeball. And that's a little bit there where you can see the whites of the eyes. So his face is turned this way, but he's looking at us. So there's going to be a little bit more white on the left-hand side than on the right-hand side. I'm doing the same here. This is not an easy one to draw. I think my older students will enjoy drawing this picture more. But I'll be interested to see what my younger kids can do. And remember, hey, you know, it took me a long time to learn how to draw a portrait. I mean, a long time. I knew how to draw a face after I'm doing the eyebrows now. You know, I just sort of do what feels right. So when you're making your own picture, you made, you know, I saw one guy that he did portraits for a living, and he started from the bottom up. Okay. Now remember, all this don't have to fit into those marks that you made. The marks, for me, I just use them to give me an idea of where they might be. I'm just doing some soft hatch marks that's curvy for the eyelashes. So I never these days try to go too heavy with my pencil marks until the end. You see this line here? I don't need it now, so I can get rid of it with my art gun. And you can blow it, but if it won't blow away, get a brush, get a soft brush, and brush it away, the excess rubber. Okay. Now I'm going to get me a drink from my splash cup. Drink of water and keep going. So this guy was a little bit older, so he had some little age marks on the corner of his eye. So lightly I'm drawing those lines there. Now, so, oh yeah, let's finish the eyes. Let's do the little pupil, the little black pupil, and leave a little highlight for where the light is hitting the eye. On the pupil and on the eye itself, leave a little light, and then around the eye, there's a darker line. I'm kind of enjoying drawing with this pencil. This pencil is kind of like an ebony pencil, and it was used in advertising when people did illustrations by hand. Now illustrations are done on the computer. You know, you may know a lot of people who use the computer to draw with. That's okay, but it's difficult for a computer to put feeling into a drawing. And the advantage that a human being have when making art is that our emotions get wrapped up and caught up into the art that we're doing. Even sometimes when we're not trying to. I'm putting some little eyelashes on the bottom of his eye. And with most men, if you make the top eyelash dark, just a dark line, not long lashes, just a dark line, it will look masculine. Okay. Now, this brow comes around like this, and since we're seeing a 3/4 view of his face, this is called a 3/4 view, we can see, because your eyes, they sink in, you can kind of touch your brow, you can touch your eyebrow, and you'll feel a bone there. And then you see there's an indentation in the ball of your eye. Close your eye, don't stick your fingers in your eye. And you feel the ball, your eyeball. Your eye is a ball. It's like a ball sitting in a socket. And you can see that from the 3/4 view. So when I do that curved line right here, that's that brow. I'm drawing that bone. And when we do some advanced drawing in a few months, we will actually look at a skeleton or a skull and talk about that more. But right now, I just want to train your eyes. And his eyes look a little puffy, so there's a little curve mark there. And then his cheeks aren't that large like a woman's cheek might be. It comes down, and then his jaw curves around. See, these are curved lines. If we were in class, I probably would have done some gesture drawings first. And college students know what I'm talking about when I talk about gesture drawings, and some of the advanced high school students know. But I don't mind doing gesture drawings with 5-year-olds. So we'll probably do some gesture drawings just to get used to seeing curved lines. Okay, so now I'm really dependent on this eyeball being where I want it to be to know where the mouth is going to start on the left-hand side. So I'm going to draw a line lightly straight down from the corner of his eyeball, his eye, and his mouth is going to start there. And on this side, I'm looking at the picture. I can see the picture. You know, I can actually put my pencil on the picture if I want to and draw that line. And see the middle, it stops at the middle of his eye. So if I drew a line straight down, it will stop about right in there. It doesn't have to be perfect. I really like these ebony pencils because you can get a lot of marks without changing pencils. So we're drawing the corner of his face, so his face is actually turned. His face is turned to a 3/4 view, so I can't see the right ear. I can't, I can only see the side of his face. I can see his entire left ear. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to draw that part. His top lip, he has a thin lip at the top, but it bends down. Most of the time, the lips will look like an M, okay? Well, his lips are thin, so it's going to be more like that. But it's not going to be straight. Remember, I had this curved line? So it's going to come around. It's going to curve. There's going to be a lot of curves to make it look round like the cone. Like the cone. Remember, the face is an oval type shape. I'm trying to draw what I see now. So this line comes down, curves back here. You have to go slow. I'm going fast. I'm going as slow as I can, but it's fast for most of you, I know. But I'm going as slow as I can on here. Now remember, every time you draw, most of these lines I can still make changes, because these lines are very close to being right. But you notice I'm not drawing one line, one hard, heavy line. I'm drawing many lines. And I plan on shading this. I'm going to have time to start shading. See, this curves around kind of like that. I'm going to shade this corner of his mouth right now, so you can see what that looks like. Now, right under the bottom lip is not large either. There's a little curved line here like the top of a circle. And that's where his chin is going to come out. He has a kind of like a round chin. His chin is going to come out here and change the shape of his jaw. So I ended up making this a lot shorter than I thought I would. No, I'm going to make the chin a little larger. So you have to be willing to make changes. Don't be afraid. I mean, mistakes, we learn from mistakes. And since we are positive people, artists, to be an artist, you have to be pretty positive. We learn from our mistakes and it makes our drawing better because we will change it. Nothing is etched in stone. I'm going to erase this little bit here because I want to put a highlight there. And I'm still not that happy with how this is coming. I'm going to bring this chin, this jaw in more. Bring the jaw in more. See, just a slight change, but it might make a huge difference. Now, the top of the ear, I have a picture so it's easier for me to see that the top of the ear comes to about right here on his eyes. The top of his eye, where his eyelashes, his eyelid is, where it folds there, folds under from his brow. So the top of that is sort of where the top of the ear is. And the bottom of the ear, if I just draw an imaginary line straight across, is just above the top of his mouth. Now let's get this space here. It's very important because the head goes back, it stops, the front of the face stops about right in here on the corner of the eye. And then his head recedes. You can touch the corner of your eye and see how when you rub back your fingers back to your ear, it's going back in space. It's hard to show that on a flat piece of paper. So what I want to do, I want to see how wide this is, the corner of his eye to where his ear starts. And I can sort of, a lot of times we eye things in, we can draw it where we think it is, or we can measure it with a picture. Is easy to measure. So I'm just going to put my fingers here on the picture, and then find a place, okay, on the picture that's similar. So it's basically from the corner, the bridge of, not the bridge, but where his nose begins to the corner of his eye. That's how wide that is. See, that's pretty wide. His ear is going to start here. That's pretty wide. It's something that's easy to make a mistake, to get wrong. So that's why I measured it. Then the bottom of this earlobe is here. This is hard to draw. This part of the ear here, it's like a double line. It's wide, like a floating triangle. It comes down, curves around. Then there's a little, on most people's ears, there's a little protrusion there. Then it comes around, back up. If you can't draw an ear correctly now, don't worry about it. Because we're not, this is just, I want you to see how these shapes you could fit a face in. So the ear is very difficult to draw. So the hair comes up above the ear, and this part is dark. The jawbone starts where the earlobe curves around here and comes down right here. So I had it a little bit high. Now, in the back of the ear is where the neck is going to come down. It's not going to be straight. It's going to come down and then curve out off the page. And then the chin is going to we look at the chin and see where the neck starts on underneath the chin, and it's about this part of the nostril, the bottom part of this nostril where it starts to curve around. That's where the neck sort of begins. And he has an Adam's apple. I'm going to draw that. So that's a basically where his face is. So I'm going to draw, there's a space here beneath the chin where his collar comes out, a soft curvy line that bends down like that. These parts of the drawing don't have to have really a lot of detail. You can just sort of estimate where things go. Now, I want to show you about shading. Let's shade this side of the face first. So I'm just going to lightly make some hash marks to start off light, then they can go dark. I'm going to leave a highlight here. Don't do this too heavy, and put your hash marks close together. So for you young kids, don't do that like that. Do it like this, close together. See, like that. If we get this part of the shading pretty good, now this part is a little darker than that part to show that he has bags under his eyes, and now there's a little line here. Okay, I may change that. Okay, let me show you a mistake I made. I made this little part under his nose too straight up and down, where I see here it's bending like that at this angle. So I'm going to change that and bend it. And that's going to throw this back here. I wish my clock worked. My wife put the clock in front of me. She don't know that it's not working. Splash kids know that I don't do a class without my wife, Iantha. She's an artist too, an exhibiting artist, and we started these free art classes together as a husband and wife team. So she's behind the camera and the computer and doing all that stuff, making sure you guys can see me. And we're just learning this new equipment, so bear with us. So I'm shading underneath the top lip. Usually with men and boys, if you make the top lip dark and the bottom lip lighter, it will look masculine. So these are little tricks that we know. Now I'm shading. So I want the left side of the face to be darker because the light is coming from the right hand side. And I'm not shading all the way up to this line because this line is going to have a highlight. So I'm leaving a little space here. Underneath the eye is a little darker than on top of this eye because the light is being spread out on this picture. So the left side, his right side, but our left side is darker. Now some of you may shade this slightly different than how I'm doing it. It's okay. Just don't go too dark too fast. I go from light to dark. And I'm going to shade under his chin. Under his chin, older people have a double chin, but it's just skin. It's just skin that goes back to the neck. And that's that line right right there, and then it curves back up like that, and I'm going to shade that. Now, where his jaw bone is, I wish I had my skull in here. I could show you this. But this is his jawbone. It's a little darker so that we can see it. But there's not much light hitting underneath the chin, like because his face is blocking out the light underneath his chin. So that's why it's darker. And then the left hand side, his right hand side, is dark here on the neck on this picture. Okay. And then these are curved lines. Remember when we drew the see, not the cone, but when we drew the cone, if I can find it. Same principle. So I want the cone to look round, and I want his neck to look round. His neck is a cone, it's round. So these marks I'm making for shading is round. I'm shading the back of his neck, and under his ear, the light is not hitting, so it's dark under there. Now you can play this back if I'm going too fast. I'm trying not to. And the way the photographer set up this picture, there's a lot of darkness underneath his chin. Notice how I'm holding my pencil. I have more control actually for these type of marks for shading if I don't hold my pencil like I'm writing, because I'm making some broad strokes here. I'm even going to make a few strokes on his neck there to darken that a little bit. Then I'm going to make his hair darker. Now I'm holding my pencil a little tighter. Now if you're using drawing pencils, you don't have to. You can get a 6B, 8B, something like that, 4B, and it'll make a dark line. But for this pencil, I just want to use one pencil since I'm using the layout pencil. Then this side of his face, according to this picture, it has some shading on it. You can see he has a little cheekbone here. I'm barely touching my paper, right? I'm trying to make this thing light. Oh, that's where his jaw is. There's a line that comes down like this. And it's shaded. It's like a triangle. You can see it. It's a triangle shape. Don't go too dark on this. I'm going to use my art gun to clean this part up. If you've gone this far, that's good. You could actually stop here. And I think it would be safe for you to just do the background and stop here, and you will have completed this assignment, because we haven't done any advanced shading in this class yet. I would want you to use your art gum to clean up bits that you don't need, lines that you don't need in here. And then you would go and do the background. Don't forget, don't draw out the collar that's behind the neck, but make that dark. And just do the background. Make the background dark. going to do cross hatching. I'm putting my hatchet marks very close together. Then I'm going to go back over it. You can turn the paper upside down. Let's see. And the more you cross hatch, the darker it's going to get. Now again, if you're using your drawing pencils, use the heavy drawing pencil for this part. The B pencil, the 6B, 4B. I don't think we have an 8B in your set. But you probably have a 6B. I'm pretty sure you have a 4B. Because remember, we don't dig into the paper. So I'm putting light pressure on here, but not enough pressure to dig into the paper. Now, my paper has texture in it, and you can see the texture. Wherever there's texture, you see paper. Now I'm going to go back, and you can sharpen your pencil. I don't know if, okay, this will fit. When you run out of lead, just sharpen your pencil. Now I'm going to use the point of my pencil. I'm going to make the edge of his face a little bit more prominent, using the point. Can you see that line there I'm making? And I'm going to make this line. I'm going to go ahead and do the shading on his nose. There's like a halo on his nose with a shadow on the top and the front of his nose. As his nose turns under, it gets a little darker. Can you see that halo there? And then on his face, there's a little darkness there. It's a little bit darker. See, this part of the picture, when you're drawing, you take your time. You take your time. Now, right here where the eye, under the eyebrow turns under, I'm going to put some little shading there. You take your time. I'm barely touching the paper, but with this 555 layout pencil, I can get some nice little grays, and that's why I decided to do this. One thing about layout pencils too is that when you photograph it, the photograph will look like the original, so you can reproduce it. I think I touched that part of the picture. I didn't want to, so I used my art gum to clean it up. When you're drawing, your pictures need to be clean. Very important. So I'm doing some advanced shading here. I'm going to let the ear fall back into the background by shading it lightly, gray, making it gray with a few highlights, side of the face. If you've gotten this far, you're doing good. Some of the older students, I would like for you to keep drawing. Younger students, if it already looks like a person, you can stop now and just watch what I'm doing. When I say younger, I mean anywhere up to from 6 to, let's say, 9 or 10. I'd rather you stop because you probably have a good picture by now. But if you're used to shading, you can keep going. I'm going to make this part of his face even darker. Now, these layout pencils won't go too dark. That's the thing about it. If I want it to go real dark, I think I may have time to do that. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's hard to draw and talk at the same time. So I'm going to show you this pencil. I was talking about the drawing pencils, 6B, and then we'll be done. Let's see if I have a 6B pencil. Let's see. I have a 4B. So I have a 4B. Okay, I need to sharpen it. I have another 4B here. See how much darker that is? I'm just going over what I've been doing. See how? Now, the darker you make the background, the better this picture is going to look. But don't dig into the background. Okay, the darker you make the background, the better it's going to look. Now, and don't forget to put your name, bottom left or bottom right hand corner. Make sure you shake your background all the way up to the side of the face. Okay? And that completes our drawing for today. Man, that was some work, wasn't it? That was some real work. So, man, I really enjoyed doing that. So I hope you kids had fun. Remember, you can replay this video and continue drawing. But until next time, remember, art is for everyone. Bye-bye.